Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
He's back, voice at large. Randy Reeves there behind that an amazing microphone there. Really, it's the voice that's amazing. He could talk in a tin can.
Yeah.
And it would be good.
Awesome. Yeah.
I tried that early on. It wasn't that great.
I want to know when you were dating your wife, what was the voice you used to propose to her?
Certainly not this one. Let's see. No, that would have been my North Georgia voice. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A little more of a twang to it, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little more. Yeah.
I don't know. Have I ever asked this? Are you from Georgia then? Are you born and raised in Georgia?
Yes. Up above Gainesville, Habersham County, like between Gainesville and Helen, up in there.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. Lived there, born there, lived through high school, and then went to Athens to UGA, and then
Go Dogs.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Go Dogs. Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not know that. I just wasn't sure where you came from. So your first gig was what, right outside of Athens or what?
Well, right in Habersham County, a little daytimer that had an FM, and the FM was all recorded,
Yeah.
Beautiful music.
Yeah.
And actually,
was it really beautiful, or did it make you go to sleep?
I liked that music from the late 60s.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really kind of did. I don't know. Even now, it's comforting, Yeah, I liked some of that stuff. But anyway, one of my first jobs there, unpaid, just to get my foot in the door, was actually recording albums from vinyl to those big 10-inch tapes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did that one summer, and then finally they gave me that all-important Sunday morning 6 to noon shift.
Yeah,
a rough
never
one.
done that. Yep.
Yep.
Me too.
Yep.
Wow. Randy
right.
Reeves, a good friend of ours, and one of my voice heroes back in the day when I was a kid. I don't think you were there, Randy, when I was a kid, because you're not that old. But I grew up in Atlanta, then moved away, went to Baltimore. But in Atlanta, we used to listen to Quixie until I'm going to say 72 maybe. And then Z93, it did the switch. We did the AM FM switch. And then Z was your basic top 40. And then from that point on, it was all Z. So what year did you show up?
I showed up from Athens. We moved to Atlanta in fall of '77, and I actually worked at WGST for a short 5 months.
Wow!
Just doing commercials and other production only, because at that time GST had just gone to the all news format. They were music format before, and they had just gone to a news format, and they needed somebody to handle the commercial end of things. And that's what I did. I had been trying before I left Athens to get into Z93, but I couldn't get a response for them. And then one day I was at work at GST, and my phone rings, and it's the program director at Z93. And he says, what's it going to take to get you over here? Which was a dumb question, because I've been, he probably had a desk full of tapes from me already. And I said, well, this call might be enough to do it. So that was a no-brainer. So I started on my birthday in February of 78, and
wow,
and worked there until 86.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good long time in radio.
Yeah. 8 years on middays. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Randy Reeves. Randy also goes to First Baptist Church Woodstock, has been going there for some time. I wanted to ask you about the transition now. Johnny's been gone. Johnny Hunt's been gone. I can't remember. It's been months. I don't know how many months.
It's been a year, over a year now, hasn't it?
Has it been a year?
It has been. Let me see. Jeremy Morton, our current pastor, took over in earnest in January of last year, 19.
Okay.
if I hope I'm getting this right, but he had been in the building with Johnny, learning and doing a transition and preaching occasionally since I think the beginning of 18 or maybe late 18. I'm not sure. I hate to quote all that because my memory may be fuzzy on that. But anyway, Johnny stayed from the time he announced his retirement. Was not a retirement. He went to North American Mission Board to work with pastors. But from the time he first mentioned it, it's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here like a year, and we're going to do a smooth transition. And it has just been great. I mean, from my perspective, from our perspective, it couldn't have been less awkward. It couldn't have been more seamless. It was just great. We've been very happy.
Now, how have they been handling the whole COVID thing? Are you guys back in service in the building yet, or how are they doing?
Probably back about a month now. I think it might have been June 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, March 15th was the first online only, and yeah, they are doing spacing. We did start out with, but it only went maybe 3 weeks with having to actually register online.
Right. Yeah.
And we did that for a while, and then they dropped that. But the bad thing is, and I'm pretty sure most churches are like this, even if your service are back, your small Bible studies, your Sunday schools, you're still out of touch.
Right.
So,
that's where you get the real connection too, is those smaller groups.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting, and our little church is nothing compared to the size of First Baptist Woodstock. But all churches have the same issues, right? Trying to get that staffing back, volunteers, and all that, because it's been months, and people we've almost learned new habits.
Yeah.
For a Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, listen, I'm on staff at this church. I love being a pastor, but I loved Sunday morning sitting and watching the service from my living room.
Yeah, I know. I'm concerned about what it's going to do to the church forever, from this point on.
We're talking with Randy Reeves, voice at large there. And Randy, I think the last time we talked a little bit about your kids, and you threw me that curveball. Thanks. I almost lost my job because of that.
I'm sure you did, Rick.
But I kind of read half the email, so I don't know if I still work here or not.
Yeah. Well, good for you. You left out the important part.
Yeah. We talked a little bit.
You keep showing up, and as long as you turn on the radio and you're there, I guess,
Yeah. And I'm still waiting for that call from Z93, but my phone won't ring. I don't know what it is.
You haven't sent us tapes yet. Keep sending more tapes.
Yeah.
Maybe I should say I'm Randy Reeves. I'm one of Randy's kids.
Yes.
What do you think about that? Grandkids. How long have you guys have had grandkids? I just want to talk a little bit about grandkids and what's going on.
Not yet, so we'll have to move on to another subject.
Oh,
all right.
Was that in the email too? You had grandkids?
You didn't know.
No grandkids. We married at I was 22. Charlotte was 20, I think, and we didn't have our first daughter until very late. We were married. We had like a 22-year honeymoon, I guess, and then when God finally worked on us and got us there, not that we were ever, we never said we're not having kids. We just said now's not the time. And boy, that will get away from you in no time. But anyway, then of course when we accepted the challenge and I mean, we were ready. I'm not saying God forced it on us, but we were definitely in the mood. Then it didn't happen for a while.
Yeah.
And we actually considered adoption first when it looked like things weren't really going well. And we knew that at our ages, we were in our 40s, and even the adoption agency that we were with said, birth mothers aren't necessarily going to gravitate to older parents. They're thinking young,
Right.
and of course, we knew God could do that, and this was a Christian agency, and they knew that too. But we tried that for as long as we could, and then and we were trying for domestic adoption, and then that agency actually went out of business, so that kind of put a wrench in things. Well, then, now actually, I got that out of kilter a little bit. Forgive me. We had our child, and then we wanted a second child. That's what it was. And so we did that for a long time, as long as that agency was in business. Then we kind of ruled out international adoption because my wife is not that crazy about travel. And she said, there's no way I can go, across the sea and do this.
Yeah.
And so our daughter then was like 9 years old before we got involved in this Russian ministry at First Baptist Woodstock. And it took over our hearts. It just captured us. And we prayed for many months. Well, God, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to support this ministry financially? Do you want us to do all we can? Do you want us to host a child? They brought kids over from time to time. And then laughingly, we would pray, or do you want us to adopt?
And when you laugh, God goes,
yeah. So then I'll wrap this up quickly. But we were in one of the meetings, the Russian ministry meetings, and they were just going on their annual trip. And the leader of the group said, why don't you go with us? And I said, well, if anybody goes, it'll be just me because my wife doesn't care to travel. It was like 2 days later at our breakfast room table when my wife said, you're not going to believe this, but I think we're supposed to go to Russia.
Wow.
So she was the prophet. And I said, I'm going to give you 2 weeks to think about it because I don't want to be responsible for getting you there and then you having a hard time. And we moved forward. She moved forward. And so we made that trip to Russia. And that was in June of 2006. And then in November of 2006, we went back and picked up our daughter, who was about to turn 8 at that time. So she's about to turn 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
what do you think? What has been the most rewarding? Now, I mean, you have 2 amazing stories right there. Well, actually 3. But just real quick, what have you walked away with being a parent and even in older age? I mean, I had my last one at 40.
Yeah.
Well, Donna actually had the baby. I didn't, but I was 40.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a mixed thing. On the one hand, as you know, you see things differently. You appreciate things more. You have more time. You're not so career oriented that gets in the way. I mean, in some ways, I think it's fabulous. I think, to be totally honest, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Certainly as being better than doing it younger, but then again, it's all God's story. If you're trying to do His will, He guides our steps. What's in our heart is ours, but He's the final control. But it has had challenges energy wise, but the way if I were talking to you as in person as a friend to somebody saying, what do you recommend? I would say the most important thing is if God allows it, don't miss it.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, it was much better to have done it late than to never have done it.
Right.
Randy, that's so good. I mean, that's really, really good. Hey,
now, Randy, do either of your girls have a nice deep voice like yours? They're carrying on the family legacy?
No, fortunately not.
Well,
no.
All right.
And their beards are much lighter.
I figured.
Yeah.
Randy Reeves, voice at large. We got to go to a break, Randy. Dan's going to flash your website up there. He's not just a pretty.
What am I flashing? Oh, there we go. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Well,
he's not
you.
just a pretty voice. He's an amazing man, a man of God, and we appreciate his testimony a little deeper than we've ever heard before. And it's a great story. We'd love to hear more. And Randy, we just appreciate you. Your humility, your passion, your relationship. We consider you a friend. Hope you do us as well. We just enjoy having you.
Well, thank you guys. And, I think you guys do a great job, by the way. I don't know how often you hear that, but I really do.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Got a knack for keeping it moving. I've never been on the interviewer side, and it's not an easy job. I know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randy. Checks in the mail, Randy. Checks in the mail.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And I'll send you an email first. You got to read it all. So.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try to do that.
Randy Reeves, go see him and all the folks at First Baptist Church Woodstock. They've got a great men's group. We've talked about that before. In fact, Randy, we're going to talk with Christian Norman next week, isn't it, Dan?
I believe so.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And he's from Detroit. We're going to find out from Detroit to Atlanta. We'll see what's going on in his world. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
You're reproached.
Do I go with you or do
Sure,
I stay?
go ahead.
Oh boy.
I think I forgot to read that part of the email. Hey, Probst and
Dan Ratcliffe.
And Randy Reeves.
And Randy Reeves.